What if the very roots of African ancestry trace back to some of the most pivotal moments in biblical history? The story of Noah and his sons, a tale of survival and rebirth after the Great Flood, holds profound insights into the lineage of all humanity, including those with African heritage. In this video, we're uncovering the biblical explanation of how Black people came to be, a story deeply connected to Noah's son Ham and his descendants. We'll explore ancient scriptures, dive into historical insights, and dispel age-old myths about the so-called curse of Ham. But this isn't just about history. It's about understanding identity, culture, and the deeper meanings within the Bible's genealogical accounts. If you're curious about how these narratives align with modern history and what lessons they hold for us today, stick around, because this is a story you don't want to miss. Before we dive in, make sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more deep dives into the Bible's hidden truths and their modern implications. And don't forget to drop a comment below. We'd love to hear your thoughts as we journey through this fascinating topic together. To understand the biblical explanation of how Black people came to be, we start with Noah, a man chosen by God to preserve life through the Great Flood. After the waters receded, humanity's story began anew with Noah's three sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. According to Genesis, these three men and their descendants became the ancestors of all nations on earth. Each son's lineage is linked to specific regions and peoples. Shem is traditionally associated with the Semitic peoples, including Arabs, Jews, and Syrians. Japheth is connected to the Indo-European peoples, encompassing much of Europe and parts of Asia. But it is through Ham, the youngest son, that the African lineage emerges, a lineage rich with culture, history, and influence. The Bible consistently ties Ham and his descendants to Africa and surrounding regions. The name Ham itself, in Hebrew and Aramaic, translates to burned or dark, a likely reference to his skin color and the hot, sun-drenched lands his descendants would inhabit. This linguistic detail is more than just a word. It's a clue about the geographic and cultural identity of Ham's lineage. Genesis 10, often called the Table of Nations, maps out the descendants of Noah's sons. Ham's four sons are Kush, Misraim, Put, and Kanan. These names are key to understanding the African connection in biblical texts. Kush is closely associated with Ethiopia and Nubia, regions rich in ancient African history. Misraim is the Hebrew name for Egypt, tying Ham's lineage to one of the most advanced civilizations of antiquity. Put is believed to refer to Libya and neighboring areas in North Africa. Kanan, though geographically tied to the Near East, is another branch of Ham's legacy, with significant historical and theological implications. Through this genealogy, we see the deep African roots within biblical history. These connections are not just symbolic. They represent real peoples, cultures, and nations that shaped the ancient world. The influence of Ham's descendants is undeniable, yet their story is often overlooked or misunderstood. As we move forward, we'll delve deeper into the lives and legacies of Ham's sons, exploring their cultural and historical contributions. But first, we need to address a lingering misconception that has cast a shadow over these narratives, the so-called curse of Ham. Stay tuned, because understanding this part of the story is crucial. The Bible provides a detailed account of Ham's descendants, emphasizing their roles in shaping the ancient world. Let's take a closer look at each of his sons, Kush, Misraim, Put, and Kanan, and explore their legacies through both biblical and historical perspectives. Kush, the eldest son of Ham, is often associated with Ethiopia and the broader region of Nubia. These areas, rich in history and culture, played a significant role in ancient biblical narratives. The term Kushite is frequently used in the Bible to describe people from the southern regions of the Nile. The Kushites are credited with great accomplishments in agriculture, trade, and governance, and their influence stretched far beyond Africa. Nimrod, a descendant of Kush, is described in Genesis as a mighty warrior, and the first ruler of a kingdom which included Babel, Erech, and Nineveh. His name is a testament to the strength and ambition of Kush's lineage. Interestingly, the Bible's description of the Queen of Sheba, a ruler from the region often associated with Kushite heritage, highlights the intellectual and cultural achievements of Kush's descendants. Her story, found in 1 Kings, illustrates the legacy of wisdom and prosperity tied to this branch of Ham's family tree. Misraim, another son of Ham, is the biblical name for Egypt, a land renowned for its advanced civilization. The Egyptians are credited with remarkable achievements in architecture, science, and philosophy, many of which were unmatched in the ancient world. The descendants of Misraim built monumental structures like the pyramids, developed systems of writing and mathematics, and influenced neighboring regions through trade and conquest. Biblical references often depict Egypt as a land of both refuge and challenge for God's people, from Abraham's journey to Joseph's rise to power and the eventual exodus led by Moses. Put is less prominently featured in the Bible, but historical accounts link him to the region of Libya and surrounding areas in North Africa. Ancient texts and traditions suggest that Put's descendants were seafaring people, known for their skills in navigation and trade. Kanan, the youngest son of Ham, is perhaps the most controversial figure in his lineage. The Bible associates him with the land of Canaan, a region encompassing modern-day Israel, Palestine, and Lebanon. This land played a central role in biblical history as the promised land for the Israelites. However, Canan's story is often clouded by the curse that Noah placed on him, not on Ham or his other descendants. This curse, as we'll explore next, has been misinterpreted and misused throughout history, with far-reaching consequences. Ham's descendants are central to biblical history, yet their stories are sometimes misrepresented or overlooked. By understanding the context of these genealogies, we gain a deeper appreciation for the diversity and richness of humanity's shared heritage. One of the most misunderstood stories in the Bible is the so-called curse of Ham. This narrative has been misinterpreted and weaponized over centuries to justify harmful ideologies, including slavery and racial discrimination. But when we look at the actual biblical account, the story tells us something very different. And understanding this is essential to uncovering the truth. The story begins in Genesis 9:20,27, shortly after the flood. Noah plants a vineyard, becomes drunk from its wine, and lies uncovered in his tent. Ham, Noah's youngest son, sees his father in this vulnerable state, and, instead of covering him or respecting his dignity, tells his brothers, Shem and Japheth. In response, Shem and Japheth act respectfully, covering their father without looking at him. When Noah awakens and learns what happened, he utters a curse, not on Ham, but on Ham's son, Kanan. Cursed be Kanan, the lowest of slaves will he be to his brothers. Genesis 9:25. This curse has been widely misinterpreted over time. Let's clarify some key points. The curse is directed at Kanan, not Ham or all of his descendants. The Bible makes it clear that only Kanan and his lineage are affected. The curse does not mention skin color or race. The idea that this curse somehow applies to all black people or African descendants is entirely unfounded. This interpretation emerged much later, influenced by cultural biases rather than biblical evidence. The curse reflects a specific moment of family conflict. Noah's words were a response to personal disrespect, not a divine decree about the destiny of entire peoples. The misinterpretation of the curse of Ham has caused significant harm. During the transatlantic slave trade, this narrative was twisted to justify the enslavement of African peoples, suggesting they were divinely cursed to servitude. However, such claims have no basis in the biblical text. By understanding the original context, we can dispel these harmful myths. The Bible is a book of unity and redemption, not division. The story of Noah's curse is about the consequences of disrespect within a family, not a justification for racial inequality. Ham's descendants, including Kush, Misraim, Put, and Kanan, represent a diverse and influential lineage. They are connected to ancient civilizations and significant cultural achievements that shaped human history. Recognizing this truth allows us to honor their legacy and reject harmful misinterpretations. The story of Ham and his descendants, as presented in the Bible, provides a foundational narrative. But to truly understand the origins and legacy of African peoples, we need to look beyond Scripture. Fields like archaeology, linguistics, genetics, and oral traditions enrich our understanding of Ham's lineage and its impact on human history. Artifacts and monuments from ancient civilizations confirm the deep roots of Ham's descendants in Africa. For instance, Ethiopia and Nubia, often associated with Kush, are home to some of the oldest known human settlements. These regions were centers of trade, innovation, and governance, long before many other parts of the world. Egypt, linked to Misraim, remains one of the most studied ancient civilizations. From the Great Pyramids to the Sphinx, Egyptian culture reflects the ingenuity and influence of Ham's lineage. The Bible itself frequently references Egypt as a land of refuge and power. Libya, tied to Put, has a rich archaeological record showcasing the presence of advanced societies engaging in trade and maritime activities across the Mediterranean. These findings confirm the biblical narrative of Ham's descendants spreading across Africa and influencing its cultural and historical landscape. The linguistic ties between the names of Ham's descendants and their associated regions are another fascinating layer of evidence. For example, Kush is linguistically linked to Kush, an ancient kingdom that flourished in what is now Sudan. Misraim aligns with the Hebrew word for Egypt, Misraim, demonstrating a clear connection between biblical text and historical geography. Modern genetic studies also trace the migration patterns of African populations, providing a scientific perspective on how Ham's descendants spread and evolved over time. In many African cultures, oral traditions preserve the stories of ancestors and their journeys. These narratives often align with the biblical accounts, reflecting a shared understanding of origins and identity. For instance, the Ethiopian tradition links their heritage to the biblical Kush and the Queen of Sheba, whose wisdom and wealth are celebrated in both biblical and historical accounts. Nubian and Sudanic histories point to a proud lineage tied to ancient Kushite rulers and warriors. While the Bible provides a foundational narrative, it is not the sole source of truth about African origins. Combining biblical accounts with archaeological and historical research allows us to build a more comprehensive picture of Ham's descendants. The biblical narrative of Ham's lineage is a celebration of diversity, resilience, and influence. It invites us to appreciate the rich cultural heritage of African peoples and to acknowledge their integral role in shaping history. It's essential to reflect on the lessons we can learn from Ham's story and the legacy of his descendants. Beyond genealogies and historical accounts, this narrative holds valuable insights about identity, respect, and the power of interpretation. Ham's story begins with a moment of family conflict, his failure to respect his father Noah during a vulnerable moment. This act of disrespect had consequences, not only for Ham, but also for his son Kanan. This reminds us of the importance of honoring our families and cherishing the values passed down through generations. But it also challenges us to move beyond the mistakes of the past. Ham's descendants, Kush, Misraim, Put, and Kanan, carried forward legacies of resilience and achievement, building civilizations and contributing to human history. Their stories teach us that a single moment does not define an entire lineage. The misuse of the curse of Ham narrative serves as a cautionary tale. History shows us how the misinterpretation of sacred texts can lead to profound injustice. By critically examining these narratives, we can dismantle stereotypes and replace them with truth and understanding. The Bible, when interpreted with care and context, reveals a message of unity and shared human heritage. It encourages us to reject division and to see all people as created in the image of God, with equal dignity and worth. Ham's descendants reflect the rich diversity of the human family. From the mighty kingdom of Kush to the enduring legacy of Egypt, their contributions to culture, governance, and innovation are undeniable. Recognizing this diversity enriches our understanding of history and reminds us of the beauty of a world shaped by many voices and perspectives. Ham's story invites us to celebrate the connections between biblical history and modern identity. It shows us that the narratives of the past are not just relics. They are living stories that continue to shape our understanding of ourselves and the world around us. The Bible offers us profound insights into human history and identity, reminding us of our shared heritage and the diversity that makes humanity so remarkable. Ham's legacy is a testament to resilience, innovation, and cultural richness. From the lands of Kush to the wonders of Egypt, his descendants have left an indelible mark on history. But their story also reminds us of the importance of interpreting sacred texts with care and understanding, rejecting misconceptions that divide, and embracing truths that unite. Now, it's your turn. What are your thoughts on Ham's story? How do you see these narratives influencing our understanding of history and identity today? We'd love to hear your reflections, so share them in the comments below. And if this journey inspired you, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and hit the notification bell to stay connected. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you in the next video.